Boker Tov, good morning or good evening, depending on where you are, and welcome. And we'll start off with a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
And because this happens to be Yom Yerushalayim, I want to dedicate this shiur for the peace of Jerusalem. And by peace of Jerusalem, of course, I understand that as a metaphor, as a microcosm for peace in the world, but it's saying a connection with the divine that leads people to acts of righteousness and kindness and compassion.
Amen.
And we're doing a tiny little spark in that direction. So let's go to the screen share. See if I can find it. And here we are. So we actually got to the Sheni because there's not a lot of Rashi on the passages that we're citing, and we're actually about to take that census that we mentioned, and we'll start right here. Vayihu. So we're now going into that sentences, and there's going to be a lot of repetitions. So just be prepared for that, because it's as if we're reading that document of the formal census. I was thinking about the issue of repetition, and there are certain, like when you get to the end of a tractate of Talmud, there's certain mystical elements to the learning. And so when you get to the end of a tractate, one of the verses you say is the children of Rav Papa, and I believe there are 10 children, and you just simply mention their names, and it is supposed to be a segula to remembering what you learned. Obviously, we know that repetition is a help, an aid to remembering, and possibly that may beg another question, which is, so why is it so important? And I would say that we already learned the answer to that question, and that is that when you count something, it is actually an act of love. When you're drawing that kind of attention, it tends to reflect the fact that you like it a lot. And of course, repeating something is something that you like a lot. So maybe this is a skula, that what we're doing here is a skula, and also a statement of love in an indirect kind of way. And that's why we have these exact repetitions. And also, of course, we can't show necessarily preferential treatment because we're saying all the same things. And we saw yesterday that we wanted to be very careful not to show preferential treatment in taking this census. So with that, I will plunge into the text itself. Vayu vnei Reuven, and the children or the sons of Reuven, Bechor Yisrael, the firstborn of Israel, meaning, of course, Jacob, Toldotam, their generations, Lemishbechotam, according to their families, Levet Avatam, of their fathers' houses, the families of their fathers' houses. Bemisparis Shemot Legulgalotav, according to the name, the number of names according to their polls. In other words, every single individual, right? Kol Zachar, every male, miben Isrim Shana Vamala, from 20 years old and upwards, Kol Yotzei Tzava, all who were enlisted in the troops. Pekudehem, their numbers, the Mate Ruvain, according to the tribe, for the tribe of Ruvain, Shisha va'arba'im elef, 640,000, v'chamesh me'ot. And I started to write up the numbers so that you could actually see how these numbers change. Now, I haven't put them in rank order, but that would be interesting possibly to see them in rank order. And so we're going to keep going. So that's Reuven. We've counted Reuven. I'm going to see if there's any Rashi on this. Let's see if there's any Rashi from before. No.
No Rashi.
No, not for a while. Right.
Gosh.
Right.
We
So
won't get to it.
I know. So
Verse
next.
49.
Yes, that's a lot of verses. Livnei Shimon, for the sons of Shimon, Toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam. Do you see how we're repeating the exact Hebrew here, right? So I don't know if you want me to translate every single time or just simply to read through the Hebrew, right? But just I'll do it one more time. Maybe I'll do it through to Judah, or to God, excuse me. For the sons of Shimon, their generations by the families of their fathers' homes, right? Their paternal home. Pekudav, his numbers, or the counting of his b'mispar shemot, according to the number of names, legulgalotam, according to their polls, kol zachar, every male, miben esrim shana v'mala, from 20 years old and up, kol yotzei tzava, everyone who was enlisted. Pekudehem, their numbers, lamate Shimon, for the tribe of Shimon, Tisha v'chamishim elef, so 950,000, ushlosh ma'ot, and 300. So you can see that there's interesting numbers that are involved here. The fact that I think that the that they're sort of either hundreds, and in some cases, I think there's one tribe that has 50 at the very end. It's sort of an interesting phenomena, and maybe it's saying that we still have to round out to some extent, even though it sounds like it's an exact counting. What is notable about Shimon that I might mention to you right now is that later on, when they're about to enter the land of Israel, and we have Pinchas in Parshat Pinchas. There is an additional counting because the leader of Shimon at that time was the one who was involved with Cosbi Batsur, a very awful act of immorality, public immorality. The number of the tribe of Shimon is reduced tremendously because here you see it's quite a large tribe, and the numbers appear to have decreased tremendously in that next counting. Just a little something to mention to you. Livnei God, for the children or the sons of God. Toldotam lemishpechotam leveit avotam, their generations according to their fathers' ancestral homes, families, b'mispar shemot, according to the number of names, miben esrim shana v'mala, 20 years old and up, kol yotzei tzava, all who would go out in the army, in the host, b'kudehem, their numbers, lamate God, for the tribe of God, Chamisha v'arba'im elef, 5 and 40,000, v'shesh me'od v'chamishim. So there you see the 50, 650. Just taking a look. See the Livnei Yehuda, תולדותם למשפחותם לבית אבותם, במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה, כל יוצאי צבא. You notice exactly the same formula every time. Who's being counted? Pekudehem, Lamate Yehuda, the numbers of the tribe of Judah, Arba'a v'shivim elesh, 470,000, v'shesh me'ot, and 600. They are, in fact, the largest tribe. They are the largest tribe. I'm sorry?
Why did he skip Levi?
A very, very good question. Can I keep that as as a surprise, or as
Sure.
keep you in suspense on that? But great question. Good for you. Good for you.
Starbucks card.
That's right. Thank you. I'm glad you like that joke. I'm assuming you do. That's why you repeated it. Okay. Yeah. Just for whatever it was worth. Shira Beth, if you don't know, that was something I would tend to tell people if I thought they asked a good question or answered. I'd say, you get the Starbucks card today. Livnei Yisachar, Toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam. Again, just interesting that Yisachar is paying attention. That Yisachar, what's going to happen is each three of these tribes are going to be divided into threes, and we're being given their order in the threes, and it's interesting that Yisachar is associated with Judah. And part of the reason is that Yisachar were known as scholars. They were a tribe of really learned people. They knew astronomy. They were able to determine the calendar based on the lunar cycle and the solar cycle. But in general, there is actually a statement that say, Bnei Yisachar Yod Binah, so that Judah, who of course winds up being, David is from the tribe of Judah, and that they're associated with these scholars. And you're going to see again the next, and there's 3 tribes. There's one more tribe coming, right? Livnei Yisachar toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot b'ben 20 shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava pekudehem. This is now Yisachar. Their numbers for the tribe of Yisachar are Arba v'chamishim, 4 and 50, elef, 1,000, v'arba me'ot, and 400. Livnei Zevulun. So this is the 3rd tribe associated with Zevulun. And remember, Zevulun was the tribe that encamped by the seashore, and they were known as merchant traders. They had ships that go out, they would trade. So you had a situation they talk about a Yisachar Zevulun relationship, because we know that people need to eat and scholars need to be compensated for their work. And so Zevulun had a deal with Yisachar that Zevulun would go out and provide the scholarship, that is to the money and the finances to finance the scholarship of Issachar, and there's a tradition that they shared in the merit of the Torah study. That even though Zevulun had to engage in trade and couldn't be as devoted to Torah study as the people of Issachar, nevertheless, because they were supporting the people from Issachar, they totally shared the merit of the study of Issachar. Just cool that they are associated together right here in this counting. So, Livnei Zvulun toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot miben 20 shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava. Repetition, right? Pekudehem, their count, Lamate Zvulun, for the tribe of Zvulun, Shiva v'chamishim elef, 750,000, v'arba me'ot, and 400. I didn't get to do all these numbers, so I may pop them in while we're studying, if you don't mind. Livnei Yosef, and now we go to the tribe of Joseph, having just dealt with Judah and his associates. Livnei Ephraim, remember, the tribe of Joseph splits into 2. The children of Ephraim, toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam, b'mispar shemot b'ben 20 shana v'mala, kol yotzei tzava, pekudehem lamate Ephraim, the numbers of the tribe of Ephraim, 40,500, 40,500. Now, we go to the other one of the split, right? Livnei Menashe, for the children of Menashe, toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot b'ben 20 shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava pekudehem, their numbers l'matei Menashe 2,30,200. So you see, I did not have a chance to write that in, and I will try and do that now if you'd like me to take the time to do that. So their number for the tribe of Menashe, 230,200. So let me do this. Let's see if I can. Playing around with, if I can. There we go. Okay,
32,200.
Thank you for the help. That's great. So what's interesting is that if you look at the tribe of Joseph, if you add up, right? Joseph is made up of Ephraim and Manasseh. If you add 32,200 to 4,500, you get 72,700, right? Not as big as Judah. Let's see. Sorry. Let's go here. Look at that. Judah. Still bigger, still the greatest size. And then you've got Joseph with Ephraim and Manasseh. coming in second, if you want to count them together. Now, understood, this is because they're all now going to be the children of Rachel. Livnei v'Yamin, the children of Benjamin, Toldatam lemishpachotam leveit avotam, b'mispar shemot miben 20 shana v'mala, kol yotzei tzava, pekudehem lemate Benjamin 35,030. So we'll do this too. Let's go down here. You'll help me here too, please, Lauren.
35,400.
Okay, I gotta get this to go in
You
here.
can, those zero, oh, the zeros should be left, but 5,400.
Trying to get in there. I've tried before and it didn't work. So I was just messing around when I played around with this. So now we get to the fourth grouping, Livnei Dan, the children of Dan, Toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot miben 20 shana v'mala, kol yotzei tzava. Sorry about that. Try to just get it the right size. Okay, let's Pekudehem lemate Dan, Shnayim v'shishim. They're a large tribe, as you can see. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, let's go. Let's do that. Shnayim v'shishim elef, 62,000.
700.
700. There we go. That seemed to work.
But you're not erasing the one you did before.
No.
Okay.
There it is. It's up here.
Okay.
Here it is.
I just have the people in the way. I didn't see it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Livnei Asher. Now we get to Asher. Toldatam mishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot miben 20 shana v'mala, kol yotzei tzava. And I'm have to create a new little thing here. Here we are. Pekudehem, their numbers, Lamate Asher, for the tribe of Asher, Echad v'arba'im, so 140, and now I'm having to wait for this to mess around. As you can see, I got the little board, little ball, for the tribe of Asher, 140,500. There's nothing I can do about this. Okay, hopefully it'll stop in a second. There we go, 41, oh, it's doing it again. So funny. All right, we'll keep going. And now the final tribe, B'nai Naphtali, children of Naphtali, Toldotam lemishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot miben 20 shana v'mala, kol yotzei tzava, pekudehem lemate Naphtali. And unfortunately now, because it's blocked, I can't do anything. The page won't go up. Their numbers, lemate Naphtali. There we go. All right, let's for Naphtali, Shlosha v'chamishim elef, 350,400. Let me finish up Asher. Let's hope this doesn't do again.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, let's do this, and now we have them all done now.
Let me see. Okay.
If I can. All right. Okay. 53 and 400. There we go.
Good.
We have them all.
Except for you put 43.
I know. I hit the wrong key.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's good.
All right. There we go. All right. I think that is it. There's no Rashis on this. There we go. Now. Okay.
I got a question, Rabbi.
Yes, Harlan.
Why did God pick these leaders of each tribe? I don't understand why he picked certain people of each tribe to be a leader. Why? Were these leaders great on each tribe? I don't understand it.
Okay.
He named different people to lead the tribes.
Yes.
Well, why are these individuals picked?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Number one, did we need to have leaders? Did each tribe require a leader to be able to find? Okay, so somebody had to get picked, Harlan. Okay, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. So we would have to assume, just like, I think you've provided the answer.
Oh.
In other words,
they're dead. They've been dead for 400 years.
no, don't be cute.
Well, no, they've been dead for, I mean, Reuben and
No,
Simon.
no, I
and
don't think that's Harlan's question. I think Harlan's
Those-
question is, we had the names of those leaders in yesterday's portion. Why Dafka them? If I'm understanding, Harlan, your question properly, but I
Yes.
think they must have been worthy. They must have been worthy of those positions. There is
Okay.
another case. I mean, your question is not a foolish question by any means, because later on, when the spies are selected to go and spy out Israel, they turn out, except for two of them, Joshua and Caleb, the 10 of them are not worthy. And there's a discussion about what happened. All right. So I mean, I can
Right.
spoiler alert, and I can tell you what, but let's leave it alone for now, because
Yeah,
hopefully we'll get to it.
I think another point though is, and maybe I missed it in yesterday, but portion, but what makes them worthy, right? The question is what makes them worthy in that sense, right? They are worthy because they've been picked, but what exactly are the characteristics that cause them to get picked?
Right.
So
That's not discussed. I mean, characteristics of leadership have to be discussed elsewhere. And the other point is this. Look,
Yep.
this isn't encyclopedic in its nature in terms of what is written down, because you wouldn't be able to carry a Sefer Torah if it had to answer every potential question that could be asked
True.
about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to just take it, and that's why we have commentary. That's why, there's room for just reams and reams and reams of commentary.
I got
And,
another question.
okay, Harlan.
But-
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
my question is, Reuben's the firstborn.
Mm.
Okay, he should lead the tribe, but Judah led the tribe.
That is a
Why?
fabulous question.
Yep.
Fabulous question, which is answered in Genesis. In the book of Genesis, we read why Reuben doesn't. And it has to do with his character, that he does not have the right qualities of leadership. He is well-meaning, but you have to be more than well-meaning. And Judah gets himself, we're not going to go back over the stories in Genesis right now, okay? But Judah, number one, I mean, he shows his quality because he's willing to, okay, there are two stories that show Judah's change of personality, because initially he's obviously a strong personality and he's able to influence the brothers to sell Joseph into slavery. He's the one who convinces them to sell Joseph and not to kill him. Reuben tries to save him, but he's not careful enough. And the other stories about Reuben which show that he is not the leader that you want, okay? And on the other hand, Judah, when Tamar, remember, he doesn't realize that he has slept with his daughter-in-law and she's conceived, that he is the father, that he, and he thinks that she is, she's played the harlot, and all she does, and when she goes to trial, because she's a great, great woman, and all she does is she shows the seal and this staff that Judah recognizes are his, that she received that as payment. That was the person who had slept with her. And Judah, so no one else knows. Judah knows this is his, and he says, she is more righteous than I am. And he does not. So basically that's number one. Number two, when Joseph wants to hold Benjamin, right? The brothers finally first of all, Judah convinces convinces Jacob to send Benjamin with them down to Egypt so they can get food. And he says, I will personally take responsibility for him. Right? And they go down there and Joseph takes Benjamin, and Judah goes to Joseph and says, take me. I cannot stand to see how my father is going to react if we don't bring Benjamin back. That is nobility.
Can you tell us about Levi before we run out of time? Because
Well, we've always got tomorrow. Okay. Well, so just down here,
we're already running out of time.
We are running out of time. Can you stand it? There's more to be said. And by the way, Levi's coming up here. Here's where Levi is going to be mentioned. All right. So may I promise that tomorrow, if hopefully with God's help, I will answer that question. Let me do that, all right?
Okay.
Rather than answer it now. Thank you for your understanding.
Why is God out of place? Why is Gad out of place? Or is it just a mistake?
I saw your, no, it's obviously not a mistake. They needed someone because Judah would have been the third. Let's see. Yeah. First of all, Levi would have been the third. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Judah would have been the fourth. And we can't have Levi, as you will see, because Levi isn't counted at all here, right?
Yeah.
And Judah has to take his own group. So,
Oh, okay.
right. And
Oh, so this is, okay, this is
so we
by
go to
grouping.
the next
Okay,
one. We go to the next
gotcha.
one. And
Okay.
it could be, I'd have to double check, but it could well be that God follows. Remember, is God Leah's son? I'd have to go back to Genesis to
Mm-mm.
check, but
Mm-mm,
I seem to
mm-mm.
remember he got his name because she
Zilpah.
said Ba.
Zilpah.
Okay, Zilpah. Oh, really?
I took notes yesterday.
Thank you. Okay, interesting. Because I know she says, Leah says, Ba God, right? That when he's named, she says, I've got luck. I've become lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that must be, all right. Yeah, Leah had
Okay.
ceased bearing, and so she gave him Zilpah. All right.
Right.
Thank you.
And then she started up again. So, you know.
Right. She had, later
Yeah.
on, she had two more children.
She was tired. She wanted a couple of years off.
So that's okay. She was a great lady.
Yeah. Okay. No. I didn't realize that are these the same groupings as where they are in the when they're marching and where they sleep around the.
Yes, I think so. We'll
Okay.
double check. I'm pretty certain
Okay,
they are.
that's fine.
Pretty certain
Because
they
that makes
are.
sense. And I just
Yeah,
wrote that down.
it does. It
Okay.
does. All right. I'm going to stop the recording, and may God hear our prayers and find our study worthy.
Amen.